Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome back to the daily readings of Srila Prabhupada's books. The shelter. No matter what we're doing, when we sit down together and hear Srila Prabhupada's books together, we're home. So, welcome home. Hare Krishna. Sanatana Goswami was glorifying this home, Srimad-Bhagavatam, the Samam Bonam, and he put it into writing. It's called the Srimad-Bhagavata Mahima Stotram, and it goes like this. Sarva Shastra Dipiyusha Sarva Vedaika Satpala Sarva Siddhanta Ratnaja Sarva Lokaika Drikprada. O nectar from the ocean of all scriptures, singular fruit of all the Vedas, rich mine of precious gems of all conclusive truths, you are the only giver of sight to all the worlds. Sarva Bhagavata Prana Srimad Bhagavata Prabho Kalitvan Shri Krishna Parivartita. O life, air of all the Supreme Lord's devotees, O Master, Srimad Bhagavatam, you are the sun risen in the darkness of Kali. You are the exact image of Shri Krishna. Paramananda Pataya Prema Varshaksharaya Te Sarvada Sarvasevyaya Shri Krishnaya Namostume. I bow down to you, who are supremely blissful to read. Your every syllable pours down a flood of prema. You can always be served by everyone. You are Shri Krishna himself. Madhika Bando Matsangin Madguro Man Mahadana Man Nistadaga Mad Bhagya Mad Ananda Namostute. My only friend, my constant companion, my spiritual master, my great wealth, my savior, my good fortune, my source of ecstasy, I bow down to you. Asadu Saduta Dayin Ati Nicho Chatakara Hanamun Jagadachin Mam Premna Rit Kantayospura. O bestower of saintliness to the unsaintly, O exalter of the most fallen, please never leave me. Always appear in my heart and my voice with pure love. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Okay, I think that maybe Aditi isn't very happy that her sons got tossed out of the heavenly planets. Let's see what happens. You know. Excuse me, I have just to answer this. Okay. 16th chapter, 8th canto. Executing the Payo-vrata process of worship. As described in this chapter, because Aditi, the mother of the demigods, was very afflicted, her husband, Kashyapa Muni, told her how to observe vows and austerities for the benefit of her sons. Since the demigods were not visible in the heavenly kingdom, their mother, Aditi, because of separation from them, was very much grieved. One day, after many, many years, the great sage Kashyapa emerged from a trance of meditation and returned to his, what kind of husband, he goes into trance for 100, 200 years, and then the wife's waiting, Oh, okay. One day after many years, the great sage Kashyapa emerged from a trance of meditation and returned to his ashram. He saw that the ashram was no longer beautiful, and his wife was very morose. Everything in the ashram, everywhere in the ashram, he saw signs of lamentation. The great sage therefore inquired from his wife about the well-being of the ashram and asked her why she looked so morose. After Aditi informed Kashyapa Muni about the ashram's well-being, she told him that she was lamenting for the absence of her sons. She then requested him to tell her how her sons could return and reoccupy their positions. She wanted all good fortune for her sons. Moved by Aditi's request, Kashyapa Muni instructed her in the philosophy of self-realization, the difference between matter and spirit, and how to be unaffected by material loss. But when he saw that Aditi was not satisfied even after he had given these instructions, he advised her to worship Vasudeva, Janardana. He assured her that only Lord Vasudeva could satisfy her and fulfill all her desires. When Aditi then expressed her desire to worship Lord Vasudeva, Prajapati Kashyapa told her about a process of worship known as Payo-vrata, which is executed in 12 days. Lord Brahma had instructed him how to satisfy Lord Krishna by this process, and thus he advised his wife to observe this vow and its regulative principles. Text 1. Shukadev Goswami said, O king, when Aditi's sons, the demigods, had thus disappeared from heaven and the demons had occupied their places, Aditi began lamenting as if she had no protector. Text 2. After many days, the great powerful sage Kashyapa Muni arose from a trance of meditation and returned home to see the ashram of Aditi neither jubilant nor festive. 3. O best of the Kurus, when Kashyapa Muni had been properly received and welcomed, he took his seat and then spoke as follows to his wife Aditi, who was very morose. O most gentle one, I wonder whether anything inauspicious has now taken place in regard to religious principles, the Brahmanas, or the people in general, who are subject to the whims of death. Purport. There are prescribed duties for all the inhabitants of this material world, especially for the Brahmanas, but also for the people in general, who are subject to the whims of death. Kashyapa Muni wondered whether the regulated principles, which are meant for the well-being of everyone, had been disobeyed. He accordingly continued his inquiries for 7 verses. Text 5. O my wife, who are very much attached to household life, if the principles of religion, economic development, and satisfaction of the senses are properly followed in household life, one's activities are as good as those of a transcendentalist. I wonder whether there have been any discrepancies in following these principles. Purport. In this verse, Aditi has been addressed by her husband, Kashyapa Muni, as Griha Medini, which means one who is satisfied in household life for sense gratification. Generally, those who are in household life pursue sense gratification in the field of activities performed for material results. Such Grihamatis have only one aim in life, sense gratification. Therefore it is said, Yan Maitunadi Grihamedi Sukham Hituchcham. The householder's life is based on sense gratification, and therefore the happiness derived from it is very meager. Nonetheless, the Vedic process is so comprehensive that even in householder life, one can adjust his activities according to the regulated principles of Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. One's aim should be to achieve liberation, but because one cannot at once give up sense gratification, in the Shastras there are injunctions prescribing how to follow the principles of religion, economic development, and sense gratification. As explained in Srimad-Bhagavatam 129, Dharmasya yapavargasya nartorta yopakalpate. All occupational engagements are certainly meant for ultimate liberation. They should never be performed for material gain. Those who are in household life should not think that religion is meant to improve the process of the householder's sense gratification. Household life is also meant for advancement in spiritual understanding, by which one can ultimately gain liberation from material clutches. One should remain in household life with the aim of understanding the ultimate goal of life, tattva jigyasa. Then household life is as good as the life of a yogi. Kashyapa Muni therefore inquired from his wife whether the principles of religion, economic development, and sense gratification were being properly followed in terms of the Shastric injunctions. As soon as one deviates from the injunctions of the Shastra, the purpose of household life is immediately lost in confusion. Text 6. I wonder whether because of being too attached to the members of your family, you failed to properly receive uninvited guests, who therefore were not welcomed and went away. Purport. It is the duty of a householder to receive guests, even if a guest may be an enemy. When a guest comes to one's home, one should properly receive him by standing up and offering him a seat. It is enjoined, grihe shatrum apipraptam, vishwatam, vishwastam, akuto bayam. Even if an enemy comes to one's home, one should receive him in such a way that the guest will forget that his host is an enemy. According to one's position, one should properly receive anyone who comes to one's home. At least a seat and a glass of water should be offered, so that the guest will not be displeased. Kashyapa Muni inquired from Aditi whether disrespect had been shown to such guests, or atitis. The word atiti refers to one who comes without an invitation. Text 7. Homes from which guests go away without having been received, even with an offering of a little water, are like those holes in the field, which are homes of jackals. Purport. In a field there may be holes made by snakes and mice, but when there are very big holes, it may be supposed that jackals live there. Certainly no one goes to take shelter in such homes. Thus the homes of human beings, where atitis, uninvited guests, are not properly received, are like the homes of jackals. Text 8. O chaste and auspicious woman, when I left home for other places, were you in so much anxiety that you did not offer oblations of ghee into the fire? Text 9. By worshipping the fire and the brahmanas, a householder can achieve the desired goal of residing in the higher planets. For the sacrificial fire and the brahmanas are to be considered the mouth of Lord Vishnu, who is the supersoul of all the demigods. Purport. According to the Vedic system, a fire sacrifice is held in order to offer oblations of ghee, grains, fruits, flowers, and so on, so that Lord Vishnu may eat and be satisfied. The Lord says in Bhagavad Gita 9:26, Patram pushpam palam toyam yome bhaktya priyachjati tadaham bhaktuparitam ashnami prayatatmanaha. If one offers me with love and devotion a leaf, a flower, fruit, or water, I will accept it. Therefore, all these items may be offered in the sacrificial fire, and Lord Vishnu will be satisfied. Similarly, Brahmana Bhojana, feeding of the Brahmanas, is also recommended, for when the Brahmanas eat sumptuous remnants of food after yajna, this is another way that Lord Vishnu himself eats. Therefore, the Vedic principles recommended that in every festival, or ceremony, one offer oblations to the fire and give sumptuous food for the Brahmanas to eat. By such activities, a householder may be elevated to the heavenly planets and similar places in the higher planetary systems. Text 10. O great-minded lady, are all your sons faring well? Seeing your withered face, I can perceive that your mind is not tranquil. How is this so? Text 11. Aditi said, O my respected Brahmana husband, all is well with the Brahmanas, the cows, religion, and the welfare of other people. O master of the house, the three principles of Dharma, Artha, and Kama flourish in household life, which is consequently full of good fortune. Purport. In household life, one can develop the three principles of religion, economic development, and sense gratification according to the regulations given in the Shastras. But to attain liberation, one must give up household life and place himself in the transcendental renounced order. Kashyapa Muni was not in the renounced order of life. Therefore, he is addressed here once as Brahman and another time as Griyamedin. Aditi, his wife, assured him that as far as household life was concerned, everything was going nicely, and the Brahmanas and cows were being honored and protected. In other words, there were no disturbances. Household life was duly progressing. Text 12. O beloved husband, the fires, guests, servants, and beggars are all being properly cared for by me. Because I always think of you, there is no possibility that any of the religious principles will be neglected. Text 13. O my Lord, since you are a Prajapati and are personally my instructor in the principles of religion, where is the possibility that all my desires will not be fulfilled? Text 14. O son of Marichi, because you are a great personality and you are equal toward all the demons and demigods who are born either from your body or from your mind, and who possess one or another of the three qualities, Sattvagun, Rajagun, or Tamagun. But although the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Supreme Controller, is equal toward all living entities, he is especially favorable to the devotees. Purport. In Bhagavad Gita 9.29, the Lord says, Samoham sarvabhuteshu name dvesho stina priyaha ye bhajanti tumam bhaktya mayite teshu chapyaham. Although the Supreme Personality of Godhead is equal toward everyone, he is especially inclined toward those who engage in his devotional service. The Lord says, Kaunteya pratijanihi na me bhakta pranashyati. My dear son of Kunti, please declare that my devotee will never be vanquished. Elsewhere, Krishna also says, Yayatam mam prapadyante tangs tataiva bhajamyaham mamavart manuvartante manushak parthasarvashaha. Actually, everyone is trying to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead in various ways, but according to their methods of worship, the Supreme Lord endows them with different benedictions. Thus, Aditi appealed to her husband by saying that since even the Supreme Controller favors his devotees, and since Indra, Kashyapa's devoted son, was in difficulty, Kashyapa should bestow his favor upon Indra. Text 15. Therefore, most gentle Lord, kindly favor your maidservant. We have now been deprived of our opulence and residence by our competitors, the demons. Kindly give us protection. Purport. Aditi, the mother of the demigods, appealed to Kashyapa Muni to give the demigods protection. When we speak of demigods, this also includes their mother. Text 16. The demons, our formidably power enemies, have taken away our opulence, our beauty, our fame, and even our residence. Indeed, we have now been exiled, and we are drowning in an ocean of trouble. Hare Krishna, Dr. Damodar. Text 17. O best of sages, best of all those who grant auspicious benedictions, please consider our situation and bestow upon my sons the benedictions by which they can regain what they have lost. Text 18. Shukadeva Goswami continued, when Kashyapa Muni was thus requested by Aditi, he slightly smiled. Alas, he said, how powerful is the illusory energy of Lord Vishnu, by which the entire world is bound by affection for children. Purport. Kashyapa Muni was surely sympathetic to his wife's affliction, yet he was surprised at how the whole world is influenced by affection. Text 19. Kashyapa Muni continued, what is this material body made of 5 elements? It is different from the spirit soul. Indeed, the spirit soul is completely different from the material elements from which the body is made. But because of bodily attachment, one is regarded as a husband or son. These illusory relationships are caused by misunderstanding. Purport. The spirit soul, Atma, or Jiva, is certainly different from the body, which is a combination of 5 material elements. This is a simple fact, but it is not understood unless one is spiritually educated. Kashyapa Muni met his wife, Aditi, in the heavenly planets, but the same misconception extends throughout the entire universe and is also here on earth. There are different grades of living entities, but all of them are more or less under the impression of the bodily conception of life. In other words, all living entities in this material world are more or less devoid of spiritual education. The Vedic civilization, however, is based on spiritual education, and spiritual education is the special basis on which Bhagavad Gita was spoken to Arjuna. In the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna instructed Arjuna to understand that the spirit soul is different from the body. Dehino sminyata dehe komadam yovanam jara tatati hantara praptir diras tatra namuyati. As the embodied soul continually passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. The self-realized soul is not bewildered by such change. Bhagavad Gita 2:13. Unfortunately, this spiritual education is completely absent from modern human civilization. No one understands his real self-interest, which lies with the spirit soul, not with the material body. Education means spiritual education. To work hard in the bodily conception of life without spiritual education is to live like an animal. Nayam deho, deha bhajam niloke, kashtan kaman, arhate vidbujam me. Bhagavatam 5:5-1. People are working so hard simply for bodily comforts, without education regarding the spirit soul. Thus, they are living in a very risky civilization. For it is a fact that the spirit soul has to transmigrate from one body to another. Tata dehantara prapti Without spiritual education, people are kept in dark ignorance and do not know what will happen to them after the annihilation of the present body. They are working blindly, and blind leaders are directing them. Anda yatandaya upaniyamanas tepishatantyam urudam nibadaha. Bhagavatam 7:5-31. A foolish person does not know that he is completely under the bondage of material nature, and that after death, material nature will impose upon him a certain type of body which he will have to accept. He does not know that although in his present body he may be a very important man, he may next get the body of an animal or tree because of his ignorant activities in the modes of material nature. Therefore, the Krishna consciousness movement is trying to give the true light of spiritual existence to the living entities. This movement is not very difficult to understand, and people must take advantage of it, for it will save them from the risky life of irresponsibility. Text 20. My dear Aditi, engage in devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the master of everything, who can subdue everyone's enemies, and who sits within everyone's heart. Only that Supreme Person, Krishna or Vasudeva, can bestow all auspicious benedictions upon everyone, for he is the spiritual master of the universe. Purport. With these words, Kashyapa Muni tried to pacify his wife. Aditi made her appeal to her material husband. Of course, that is nice, but actually a material relative cannot do anything good for anyone. If anything good can be done, it is done by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva. Therefore, Kashyapa Muni advised his wife, Aditi, to begin worshipping Lord Vasudeva, who is situated in everyone's heart. He is the friend of everyone and is known as Janardana because he can kill all enemies. There are three modes of material nature: goodness, passion, and ignorance. And above material nature, transcendental to material nature, is another existence, which is called Shuddha-sattva. In the material world, the mode of goodness is considered the best. But because of material contamination, even the mode of goodness is sometimes overpowered by the modes of passion and ignorance. But when one transcends the competition between these modes and engages himself in devotional service, he rises above the three modes of material nature. In that transcendental position, one is situated in pure consciousness. Sattvam Vishuddham Vasudeva Shabditam. Bhagavatam 4:3-23. Above material nature is the position called Vasudeva, or freedom from material contamination. Only in that position can one perceive the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva. Thus, the Vasudeva condition fulfills a spiritual necessity. Vasudeva Sarvamiti Samahatma Sudurlabhaha. Bhagavad Gita 7:19. When one realizes Vasudeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he becomes most exalted. Paramatma, Vasudeva, is situated in everyone's heart, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. The Lord says, Tesham satadidyuktanam bhajatam pritipurvakam dadami buddhiyogam tam yenamam upayanti te. To those who are constantly devoted and worship me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. Bhagavad Gita 10:10. Ishvarak sarvabhutanam viddhasharjuna. The Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart, O Arjuna. Bhagavad Gita 18:61. Bhoktaram Yagyatapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Suridam Sarvabhutanam Gyatva Mam Shanti Mrichjati. The sages, knowing me as the ultimate purpose of all sacrifices and austerities, the Supreme Lord of all the planets and demigods, and the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities, attains peace from the pangs of material miseries. Bhagavad Gita 5:29. Whenever one is perplexed, let him take shelter of the lotus feet of Vasudeva, Krishna, who will give the devotee intelligence to help him surpass all difficulties and return home, back to Godhead. Kashyapa Muni advised his wife to seek shelter at the lotus feet of Vasudeva, Krishna, so that all her problems would be very easily solved. Thus Kashyapa Muni was an ideal spiritual master. He was not so foolish that he would present himself as an exalted personality as good as God. He was actually a bona fide guru, because he advised his wife to seek shelter at the lotus feet of Vasudeva. One who trains his subordinate or disciple to worship Vasudeva is the truly bona fide spiritual master. The word Jagat Gurum is very important in this regard. Kashyapa Muni did not falsely declare himself to be Jagat Guru, although he actually was Jagat Guru, because he advocated the cause of Vasudeva. Actually, Vasudeva is Jagat Guru, as clearly stated here, Vasudevam Jagat Gurum. One who teaches the instructions of Vasudeva, Bhagavad Gita, is as good as Vasudevam Jagat Gurum. But when one who does not teach this instruction as it is, declares himself Jagat Guru, he simply cheats the public. Krishna is Jagat Guru, and one who teaches the instruction of Krishna as it is on behalf of Krishna may be accepted as Jagat Guru. One who manufactures his own theories cannot be accepted. He becomes Jagat Guru falsely. Text 21. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is very merciful to the poor, will fulfill all your desires for devotional service unto Him, is infallible. Any method other than devotional service is useless. That is my opinion. Purport. There are three kinds of men who are called akarma, mokshakama, and sarvakama. Thank you. One who tries to get liberation from this material world is called mokshakama. One who wants to enjoy this material world to its fullest extent is called sarvakama. And one who has fulfilled all his desires and has no further material desires is called akama. A bhakta has no desire. Sarvopadi vinir muktam tat padatmena nirmalam. He is purified and free from material desires. The mokshakami wants to achieve liberation by merging into the existence of the Supreme Brahman. And because of this desire to merge into the existence of the Lord, he is not yet pure. And since those who want liberation are impure, what to speak of the karmis, who have so many desires to fulfill? Nonetheless, the Shastra says, Akama sarvakamo ba mokshakama udaradihi tivrina bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. Whether one desires everything or nothing, or desires to merge into the existence of the Lord, he is intelligent only if he worships Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by rendering transcendental loving service. Bhagavatam 2:3-10. Kashyapa Muni saw that his wife Aditi had some material desires for the welfare of her sons, but still he advised her to render devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In other words, everyone regardless of whether he is a karmi, jnani, yogi, or bhakta, should invariably take shelter of the lotus feet of Vasudeva and render transcendental loving service unto him, so that all his desires will be duly fulfilled. Krishna is Dina Anukampana. He is very merciful to everyone. Therefore, if one wants to fulfill his material desires, Krishna helps him. Of course, sometimes if a devotee is very sincere, the Lord, as a special favor to him, refuses to fulfill his material desires and directly blesses him with pure, unalloyed devotional service. It is said in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya 22, 38 and 39, Krishna kahe, amabhajye magge vishaya sukha, amrita chadi vishamagge e badamurka. Ami bhigya e murke vishaya kenidiba, swacharanamrita diya vishaya bulaiba. Krishna says, if one engages in my transcendental loving service, but at the same time wants the opulence of material enjoyment, he is very, very foolish. Indeed, he is just like a person who gives up ambrosia to drink poison. Since I am very intelligent, why should I give this fool material prosperity? Instead, I shall induce him to take the nectar of the shelter of my lotus feet and make him forget illusory material enjoyments. If a devotee maintains some material desire and at the same time very sincerely desires to engage in the lotus feet of Krishna, Krishna may directly give him unalloyed devotional service and take away all his material desires and possessions. This is the Lord's special favor to devotees. Otherwise, if one takes to Krishna's devotional service but still has material desires to fulfill, he may become free from all material desires, as Dhruva Maharaj did. But this may take some time. However, if a very sincere devotee wants only Krishna's lotus feet, Krishna directly gives him the position of Shuddha Bhakti, unalloyed devotional service. Text 22. Srimati Aditi said, O Brahmana, tell me the regulated principles by which I may worship the Supreme Master of the worlds, so that the Lord may be pleased with me and fulfill my desires. Purport. It is said, man proposes, God disposes. Shall we repeat that? It is said, man proposes, God disposes. Thus a person may desire many things, but unless these desires are fulfilled by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they cannot be fulfilled. Fulfillment of desire is called Satya Sankalpa. Here the word Satya Sankalpa is very important. Aditi placed herself at the mercy of her husband so that he would give her directions by which to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, so that all her desires would be fulfilled. A disciple must first decide that he should worship the Supreme Lord, and then the spiritual master will give the disciple correct directions. One cannot dictate to the spiritual master, just as a patient cannot demand that his physician prescribe a certain type of medicine. Of course, nowadays, Big Pharma may have another idea. But here is the beginning of worship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 7:16. Chaturvida bhajante mam janak sukritan orjuna arto jigyasur artarti jnani cha bharatarshava. O best among the Bharats, 4 kinds of pious men render devotional service unto me. The distressed, the desire of wealth, the inquisitive, and he who is searching for knowledge of the Absolute. Aditi was Artha, a person in distress. She was very much aggrieved because her sons, the demigods, were bereft of everything. Thus she wanted to take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead under the direction of her husband, Kashyapa Muni. Text 23. O best of the Brahmanas, kindly instruct me in the perfect method of worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead in devotional service, by which the Lord may very soon be pleased with me and save me, along with my sons, from this most dangerous condition. Purport. Sometimes less intelligent men ask whether one has to approach a guru to be instructed in devotional service for spiritual advancement. The answer is given here. Indeed, not only here, but also in Bhagavad Gita, where Arjuna accepted Krishna as his guru. Shishyasteham shadimam tvam prapanam. The Vedas also instruct tad vijnanartam sagurun ibabhigachet. One must accept a guru for proper direction if one is seriously inclined toward advancement in spiritual life. The Lord says that one must worship the Acharya, who is the representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Acharya Mam Vijaniyat. One should definitely understand this. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is said that the Guru is the manifestation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, according to all the evidence given by the Shastra and by the practical behavior of devotees, one must accept a Guru. Aditi accepted her husband as her Guru, so that he would direct her how to advance in spiritual consciousness, devotional service, by worshipping the Supreme Lord. Text 24. Sri Kashyapa Muni said, when I desired offspring, I placed inquiries before Lord Brahma, who is born from a lotus flower. Now I shall explain to you the same process Lord Brahma instructed me, by which Keshava, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is satisfied. Purport. Here is the process of devotional service. Here, the process of devotional service is further explained. Kashyapa Muni wanted to instruct Aditi in the same process recommended to him by Brahma for satisfying the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is valuable. The Guru does not manufacture a new process to instruct the disciple. The disciple receives from the Guru an authorized process, received by the Guru from his Guru. This is called the system of disciplic succession. Evam parampara praptam imam raja shayo viduhu. This is the bona fide system, Vedic system, of receiving the process of devotional service, by which the Supreme Personality of Godhead is pleased. Therefore, to approach a bona fide Guru or spiritual master is essential. The bona fide spiritual master is he who has received the mercy of his Guru, who in turn is bona fide because he has received the mercy of his Guru. This is called the parampara system. Unless one follows this parampara system, the mantra one receives will be chanted for no purpose. Nowadays, there are many so-called gurus who manufacture their mantras as a process for material advancement, not spiritual advancement. Still, the mantra cannot be successful if it is manufactured. Mantras and the process of devotional service have special power, provided they are received from the authorized person. 25. In the bright fortnight of the month of Palguna, February-March, for 12 days, ending with Dwadashi, one should observe the vow of subsisting only on milk and should worship the lotus-eyed Supreme Personality of Godhead with all devotion. Purport. Worshipping the Supreme Lord with devotion means following Archana Marga. Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu, Smaranam Padasevanam, Archanam Vandanam Dasyam, Sakyam Atma Nivedanam. One should install the deity of Lord Vishnu or Krishna and worship him nicely by dressing him, decorating him with flower garlands, and offering him all kinds of fruits, flowers, and cooked food, nicely prepared with ghee, sugar, and grains. One should also offer a flame, incense, and so on, while ringing a bell as prescribed. This is called worship of the Lord. Here it is recommended that one observe the vow of subsisting only by drinking milk. This is called Payo-vrata. As we generally perform devotional service on Ekadashi by not eating grains, it is generally recommended that on Dwadashi one not consume anything but milk. Payo-vrata and Archana, devotional service to the Supreme Lord, should be performed with a pure devotional attitude. Bhaktya. Without bhakti, one cannot worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Bhaktya mam abhijanati yavan yas chasmi tatvataha. If one wants to know the Supreme Personality of Godhead and be directly connected with Him, knowing what He wants to eat and how He is satisfied, one must take the process of bhakti. As recommended here also, bhaktya paramayan bita. One should be surcharged with unalloyed devotional service. Text 26. If dirt dug up by a boar is available, on the day of the dark moon, one should smear this dirt on his body and then bathe in a flowing river. While bathing, one should chant the following mantra. O Mother Earth, you were raised by the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the form of a boar because of your desire to have a place to stay. I pray that you kindly vanquish all the reactions of my sinful life. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. 28. Thereafter one should perform his daily spiritual duties, then, with great attention, offer worship to the deity of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and also to the altar, the sun, water, fire, and the spiritual master. 29. O Supreme Personality of Godhead, greatest of all, who lives in everyone's heart and in whom everyone lives, O witness of everything, O Vasudeva, supreme and all-pervading person, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Text 30. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you, the Supreme Person, being very subtle. You are never visible to material eyes. You are the knower of the 24 elements, and you are the inaugurator of the Sankhya Yoga system. Purport. Chatur Bingshad Guna. The 24 elements are the 5 gross elements, earth, water, fire, air, and ether. The 3 subtle elements, mind, intelligence, and false ego. The 10 senses, 5 for working and 5 for acquiring knowledge. The 5 sense objects, the contaminated consciousness. These are the subject matter of Sankhya Yoga, which was inaugurated by Lord Kapila-dev. This Sankhya Yoga was again propounded by another Kapila, but he was an atheist, and his system is not accepted as bona fide. Text 31. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who have 2 heads, Prayaniya and Udaniya, 3 legs, Shravanatraya, 4 horns, the 4 Vedas, and 7 hands, the 7 Chandas, such as Gayatri. I offer my obeisances unto you, whose heart and soul are the 3 Vedic rituals, Karmakanda, Jnanakanda, and Upasana Kanda, and to expand these rituals in the form of sacrifice. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you, Lord Shiva, or Rudra, who are the reservoir of all potencies, the reservoir of all knowledge, and the master of everyone. Purport. It is the system for one to offer obeisances under the expansion or incarnation of the Lord. Lord Shiva is the incarnation of ignorance, one of the material modes of nature. Namo Hiranyagarbha. Namo Hiranyagarbhaya Pranaya Jaganatmane Yogaishvarya Shariraya Namaste Yoga Hetave. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you, who are situated as Hiranyagarbha, the source of life, the supersoul of every living entity. Your body is the source of the opulence of all mystic power. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you, who are the original personality of Godhead, the witness in everyone's heart, and the incarnation of Narayana, Rishi, in the form of a human being. O personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. I'm right in the middle of these prayers. How many? I don't want to stop, and I'm over 7:30 already. It's plenty, isn't it?
It goes up to text 60.
Yeah, okay, I'll stop here. Hare Krishna. The next verse will start out. Guess what? My Lord. Payo-vrata. Now, I want to just point out something. One time, when Lord Chaitanya, in the house of Srivas Thakur, was having the very beginning of the Sankirtan movement, before it came out into the public, Lord Chaitanya used to conduct, when he came out, and he started having Nagar Kirtan, not out, but in the house of Srivas Thakur. And he would only allow in the room completely pure devotees. So there were lots of people who were trying to get in. And one time one of his devotees brought a person in and hid him somewhere. The Lord Chaitanya looked around and said, I'm not getting any bhav. There's somebody in here, not pure. And then they searched and they found somebody hiding behind in a basket or something. Lord Chaitanya, who is this person? And one of the devotees said, oh Lord, he's a very pure brahmanas. He only drinks milk. And then Lord Chaitanya said, you think you can see me just by drinking milk? So it's not that just by drinking milk you can get love of God. Hare Krishna. Just a little anecdote from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Okay, that's it for tonight. Open mic. Hare Krishna, Dr. G. We're missing your Tamal Gopal Baba.
I came from outside, that's why I could not.
I see. Okay, anyway, thank you for coming. Thanks for taking the trouble. Hare Krishna. Hare Bol. All right. It's all yours.
Got two on here. Rasa Rasika first.
Rasa Rasika. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. Today we heard, according to one's position, one should properly receive anyone who comes to one's home. How do we view these types of instructions, considering the potential danger that an aggressor like a thief or very dangerous person would pose for a family, especially those living in a city?
Kala Pratadesha. Time and circumstance. Time and circumstance. A devotional service is easier to perform in a culture that supports it. And if you're in a culture that doesn't support it, then you have to be more careful.
Radhaji Locke posted an excerpt from text 20. So, whenever one is perplexed, let him take shelter of the lotus feet of Vasudeva, Krishna, who will give the devotee intelligence to help him surpass all difficulties and return home back to Godhead.
Sounds like a good idea to me. Sign me up. I mean, just try to understand. I mean, you all already understand. What am I saying? Lord Chaitanya is so kind that he's given us a process that all of us can perform without difficulty and get the same result as any sacrifice mentioned in the Bhagavatam or anywhere else for that matter. Even the Rajasuya sacrifice, even the Ashwamedha Yajna. And that's the pure chanting of the holy name of the Lord. How kind is that? It can be done by anyone. And Lord Chaitanya's order is to distribute it to anyone and everyone, regardless. I just read in Chaitanya Charitamrita that when Satyaraj Khan was leaving, when Lord Chaitanya was saying goodbye to the devotees from Bengal who came to visit him in Jagannath Puri, when Satyaraj Khan was leaving, he was very dear to Lord Chaitanya, and he gave him an instruction that he should go and worship Krishna, the holy name, and the Vaishnavas. And then he asked him, who is a Vaishnava? How can I recognize him? And Lord Chaitanya said, anyone who has chanted Hare Krishna once is a worshipable person. Of course, he asked him the next year the same question, and he said something different. And he asked him the next year, he asked him the same question, and he said something even different. The second time he said, if someone is initiated in chanting regularly the holy name and performing devotional service under the guidance of a spiritual master, you should worship that person, Vaishnava. And then the next year, he asked him the same question, and he said, if a person, when you see him, you feel like being Krishna conscious or chanting Hare Krishna, you should worship that person. He's a pure Vaishnava. So in that way he instructed the Kanishta, Madhyam, and Uttam, Adhikara Kari stations in a very esoteric way. Okay. What else? Yes, Prana.
I liked the purport that spoke about how it quoted the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Krishna will, instead of fulfilling the devotee's material desires, will not fulfill them, but instead give this devotee the shelter of his lotus feet.
Yes.
And I like that because I pray for that mercy.
Yeah, it's Lord Chaitanya's mercy. It's Lord Krishna's mercy. Thank you very much. Anything else?
So Maharaj, this Payo-vrata, so is instruction here for the Payo-vrata, is all ladies should do that Payo-vrata?
All ladies should do the Payo-vrata? Not necessarily. It is a specific vrat way of worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It's not mechanical. It's not like a material formula that everybody must do it just because it's in the Bhagavatam. Especially since we have the Sankirtan Yajna.
Mm-hmm.
We don't need to do the Payo-vrata if we have the Sankirtan Yajna. The holy name of the Lord is Krishna. So every time we chant Hare Krishna, we're with Krishna.
Mm-hmm.
You can do it, there's nothing wrong with doing it, but we have the supreme sacrifice. Sankirtan Yajna is the recommended sacrifice for this time, in this place. This was in the Satya Yuga.
He said 12 days only drink milk and to the vrata.
Yeah, drink milk, but also worship the deities.
Yes.
Every day and you have to follow the principles of worshiping the deities every day. But let's just face the facts. This was done. Why? Why was it done? To save her sons who were in trouble. So this is upasana. But it's fruitive. It's fruitive. Therefore, that one purport is very elaborately, Srila Prabhupada explained, akama savakama va mokshakama udaradi tivrina bhakti yogina. Let's see what happens to Aditi after she finishes the vrata. Means you should worship Krishna whether you're full of desires, you have no desires, or you're desiring to be liberated. You should worship Krishna. That's the illustration of that sacrifice. She was full of material desires. So let's see what happens when she approaches Krishna with that desire. We'll find out later on in this chapter, the end of the chapter. No harm if you want to, do the Payo-vrata. It's no harm at all. But we're doing the Sankirtan Yajna, which is worth all of the... What is the verse? There's a verse which says that if one compares the value of chanting the holy name of Krishna, the Maha Mantra, to 100,000 Ashrameta sacrifice or something like that, then he's an atheist. Yes, Prana.
I also thought it interesting how in the summary it was explaining how Kashyapa Muni first instructed Aditi in the philosophy and how to be unaffected by the material loss.
Oh yes.
And how that he was amazed by how this affection, this material affection, can influence someone. And then he just said, you should not be concerned with this, just worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Yeah.
And then then he gave her the process to fulfill the desire by worshiping the Supreme Personality. It was reminiscent of, I thought, Narada Muni and Dhruva Maharaj in the 4th canto, how he wasn't able to take the very highest instruction, but still Narada engaged him in worshipping the Supreme Lord, which purified him. So I don't know, it seems to me, maybe if you can confirm, is that a similar thing going on
It's
here?
It's similar, and Lord Chaitanya and Srila Prabhupada confirmed this also. He said most people can't hear philosophy. So even if you tell them you're not your body and this and that and the other thing, but if you get them to chant Hare Krishna and dance and take prasadam, then they can first, then maybe they can understand some philosophy. So it's like Lord Chaitanya is so merciful, he gave the highest thing, because chanting Hare Krishna is the highest sacrifice you can do, and it's always been there. It's always been there in every age. The chanting of Hare Krishna is the most elevated sacrifice. But in the other ages, in which the atmosphere was conducive to meditation, and people were born with the ability to meditate and know that this is the devotional service of the Lord, they come after doing all these austerities and trances and all these things to the chanting of Hare Krishna. But here in the Kali Yuga, Lord Chaitanya gave the topmost thing from the beginning. So we got the topmost thing to get us to the topmost thing, because we can't do the other things in this age. That's the truth. That's Lord Chaitanya's causeless mercy. Therefore, the demigods, there's verses that state that demigods pray to take birth in the Kali Yuga on the earth, so that they can get this benediction and go back to Godhead without going through all the trouble you have to go through in other ages, in other places, in other times. Okay, with all of your permission, I will take your leave now. And thank you very much for being so loyal and eager to hear about the Lord. Engage in this process of hearing the Srimad-Bhagavatam, which is not different from chanting Hare Krishna. Yes. Okay, Srimad-Bhagavatam ki jai, Payo-vrata ki jai. Gaur Premanandi, Hari Aburu. See you tomorrow night, same place, same station, same time, 6:30 Central Time. Hare Krishna.